Have you ever heard of a person who was a physicist, an astronomer, a mathematician, a geographer, a historian, a pharmacist, a philosopher, and a linguist all at the same time? It sounds like something out of a superhero movie, but this person was very real. His name was Abu Rayhan Al-Biruni, and he is often called the Leonardo da Vinci of the Islamic Golden Age, born over 1,000 years ago. In 973, in a region that is now part of modern-day Uzbekistan, Al-Biruni's mind knew no boundaries. His life was an incredible journey of discovery, and his contributions to science and humanity are so vast, it's hard to believe they all came from one person. So buckle up, because we're about to travel back in time to meet one of the greatest scholars in all of human history. Al-Biruni's story begins in Khwarazm, a vibrant center of culture and trade on the Silk Road. From a very young age, he showed an extraordinary curiosity about the world around him. He wasn't content with just accepting things as they were. He needed to understand why. His first passion was astronomy. Imagine a young boy spending his nights gazing at the stars, not just with wonder, but with a scientific mind, trying to map their movements and understand the mechanics of the cosmos. He learned from the leading astronomers of his time, but he was never just a student. By the time he was 17, he was already calculating the latitude of his hometown. By 22, he was writing several books on cartography and celestial mechanics, using complex mathematical principles that were far ahead of his era. But his life wasn't just quiet study. The region was politically unstable, and Al-Biruni was often forced to move from one royal court to another, seeking patronage from different rulers. While this could have disrupted his work, Al-Biruni turned it into an opportunity. Each new city, each new library, was a chance to learn something new, to meet new scholars, and to access new texts. He mastered numerous languages, including Persian, Arabic, Sanskrit, Greek, and Syriac. This linguistic skill wasn't just for show. It was a key that unlocked the knowledge of ancient civilizations, allowing him to read scientific and philosophical texts in their original form. This ability to bridge different cultures and bodies of knowledge would become a hallmark of his work. One of the most significant chapters of Al-Biruni's life was his time in India. Around the year 1017, he accompanied the conqueror Mahmud of Ghazni on his campaigns. But while the armies were focused on conquest, Al-Biruni was focused on discovery. He spent over a decade in the Indian subcontinent, and what he did there was revolutionary. Instead of looking at Indian culture as foreign or inferior, he approached it with deep respect and an insatiable academic curiosity. He learned Sanskrit, engaged in dialogues with Hindu scholars and Brahmins, and sought to understand their science, their religion, and their philosophy from their own perspective. This was an incredibly modern approach to anthropology and comparative religion, centuries before these fields even existed. The result of his time in India was his monumental book, Kitab al-Hind, or the Book of India. This wasn't just a travelogue, it was a comprehensive encyclopedia of India. In it, he described Indian geography, mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, social customs, and religious beliefs with astonishing accuracy and objectivity. He explained the concept of the caste system, detailed the principles of Hindu cosmology, and translated key Sanskrit texts. He was a true cultural bridge builder, presenting Indian knowledge to the Islamic world without prejudice. He famously wrote that his book was for anyone who wanted to discuss with them the questions of religion, science, or literature on the basis of their own civilization. He sought understanding, not judgment. But Al-Biruni was a scientist first and foremost. His contributions to a vast range of scientific fields are simply mind-boggling. Let's talk about geography. Long before Columbus, many educated people knew the Earth was round. But Al-Biruni took it a step further. He devised a brilliant new method to calculate the circumference of the Earth. He climbed a mountain of a known height, measured the angle of the horizon using a custom-made instrument, and then, using trigonometry, he calculated the Earth's radius. His result was about 40,000 kilometers, which is only about 2% off from the actual value we know today. Think about that, he achieved this incredible accuracy over 1,000 years ago with tools he built himself. He also proposed the existence of a massive landmass in the ocean between Europe and Asia, which we now know as the Americas, based on his calculations. In physics, he explored concepts like density and specific gravity. He developed a special flask to accurately measure the weight of different metals and minerals, creating some of the most precise density tables of his time. He understood the principles of hydrostatics and mechanics, and he even questioned Aristotle's physics, which was the dominant school of thought. For example, Al-Biruni argued that celestial bodies were made of the same elements as the Earth, a radical idea that challenged the ancient Greek notion of a perfect, unchanging heavens. He also correctly theorized that light travels faster than sound, observing that we see lightning before we hear thunder. As an astronomer, he was a giant. He built observatories, designed new astronomical instruments, and meticulously recorded celestial events. While he was aware of the geocentric model of the universe, where everything revolves around the Earth, he also seriously considered and discussed the possibility of a heliocentric model, where the Earth revolves around the Sun. He even debated with other scholars about whether the Earth rotated on its own axis, presenting arguments for both sides. He didn't definitively prove it, but the fact that he was rigorously exploring these ideas centuries before Copernicus and Galileo is a testament to his genius and his open-minded approach to science. He saw the universe not as a fixed system, but as a grand puzzle to be solved through observation and mathematics. His work in mathematics was the foundation for all his other scientific endeavors. He was a master of trigonometry, developing new formulas and tables that were essential for his astronomical and geographical calculations. He wrote extensively on arithmetic, algebra, and geometry, and he even explored the concept of irrational numbers. For Al-Biruni, mathematics wasn't just an abstract subject. It was the language of the universe, the tool that allowed him to unlock the secrets of the natural world. Beyond the hard sciences, Al-Biruni was also a historian and a chronologist. His book, The Remaining Signs of Past Centuries, is a massive work that compares the calendars and timelines of various cultures and religions. He tried to establish a clear chronological history of humanity, a task of incredible complexity. He approached history with the same scientific rigor he applied to everything else, cross-referencing sources and seeking empirical evidence whenever possible. He understood that to understand the present, you must first understand the past. Even in his later years, his passion for learning never faded. There's a famous story that as he lay on his deathbed, a scholar came to visit him. Al-Biruni asked the man to repeat a complex legal inheritance problem he had once mentioned. The visitor was surprised and asked why he would care about such a thing in his final moments. Al-Biruni replied, "Is it not better to leave this world knowing the answer than to leave it in ignorance?" He passed away shortly after the man explained it to him. This story perfectly encapsulates his lifelong, unquenchable thirst for knowledge. Al-Biruni left behind an incredible legacy. He wrote over 140 books on nearly every subject imaginable, though many have been lost to time. What remains shows us a mind that was centuries ahead of its time, a mind that championed observation, experimentation, and critical thinking. He was a true polymath who saw knowledge as a unified whole, not as separate, disconnected subjects. He showed us that science and humanities are not in conflict, but are two sides of the same coin in the quest to understand our world and our place in it. His life is a powerful reminder that curiosity, respect for other cultures, and a relentless pursuit of truth are timeless virtues that can change the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of the amazing Abu Rayhan Al-Biruni. If you found this story as inspiring as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe for more stories about incredible minds from history, and share this video with someone who loves to learn. Let me know in the comments which historical figure you'd like to learn about next. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.